I love it. I love it. I love it. Look at this. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hey, I'm not surprised.
Hey, my homies, what's poppin'? Guys, just before we get into this episode, get into this breakdown. Juliana Pena, man, oh my goodness. I literally gave her no chance. No chance whatsoever. Guys, this was my face when Juliana Pena started landing the jab. And then she starts sticking Amanda even more with the jab. And then she starts to rock Amanda Nunes. You don't rock Amanda Nunes. But Juliana Pena does. My goodness. That's got to be the craziest result this year. You know, she shook up the world. Alright, my homies, let's break down this card. Don't forget to smash that like button. Alright, let's go. Alright, we've got a matchup between Matt Sayles taking on Jourdain Leavitt. Low-key a difficult matchup to predict. Matt Sayles is stepping up to 155. We haven't seen him in must be about 2 years now. But what I remember from Matt Sayles, you know, the takedown defense isn't that good. He's kind of like a Dominic Cruz prodigy, you know, looking to use a lot of unorthodox movement. So if I'm looking at Matt Sayles in this matchup, I think striking wise, might have a lot of success against Jourdain Leavitt. Now Jourdain Leavitt on the flip side, you know, he's getting all of these submission wins. You look at what he done to Matt Wyman in his UFC debut, you know, slammed him on his head. Nasty. But then you look against Claudio Puelles, you know, the cardio didn't look too good. And he kind of looked a little bit one-dimensional trying to grapple. So yeah, good matchup. I think if Matt Sayles can avoid being taken to the mat, avoid that grappling game plan that Jourdain Leavitt most likely wants to fight with, then he can probably win this one. The flip side, of course, if Jourdain Leavitt takes down Matt Sayles, maybe there's a submission. Yeah, my prediction on this one, guys, I'm going to side with Matt Sayles to avoid the ground game of Jourdain Leavitt. Good fight though, you know, it's a difficult one. Matt Sayles been away for a couple years. Jourdain Leavitt, he's adamant to grapple. When Jourdain Leavitt isn't grappling, he's trying to use the kicks. But I don't think the kicks are going to be the result. You know, if Jourdain wants to win, it's got to be a takedown. It's got to be grappling. It's a good matchup. I'd price Matt Sayles around -130. But the bookies have both of these guys -110. So, you know, that's the bookies' way of saying, yo, pick a side, bro. Pick a side. To be honest, man, I'll probably play Matt Sayles at -110. You know, it's a pick'em, but if you can get the pick'ems right, it's a nice payday on that bet. You know what I'm saying? Alright, we've got a matchup between Don'Tale Mayes taking on Josh Parisian. Man, this matchup is, you know, I'm going to watch it. I'll watch the matchup, but it's not exciting. And the reasons why it's not exciting, if you look at Don'Tale Mayes, you know, kind of slows down outside of round one. If you look at Josh Parisian, you know, slowed down a lot against Parker Porter. And the fight against Roque Martinez, you know, kind of lackluster. You look at the work that Josh Parisian done, like pushing Roque against the fence. It was, you know, it was a split decision, and rightfully so. I kind of think if this fight leaves round one, which I expect it probably will, both of these guys are going to get fatigued. And if you've got a bet on Don'Tale Mayes, you're thinking, man, I hope Parisian gets more tired and Don'Tale can do something. And vice versa for Josh Parisian. You know, he's going to be fighting Don'Tale, who slows down a lot. You know, it's a pick'em in my eyes. Guys, I'm going to side with Josh Parisian. Just not a lot of confidence. There's no way I'm betting this one. But let's see what the bookies have. The bookies have Josh Parisian +160. In my opinion, it's a pick'em. So if you're looking at who to play value-wise, I think it's Josh Parisian. But if you're looking at this matchup thinking, can I bet this one? Can it look clean? You know, not a sweaty bet. The answer to that's going to be no, in my opinion. I'll take Josh Parisian, just not confident. Guys, I'm going to be completely honest. My prediction is probably going to be a biased prediction here. I am a fan of Macy Chiasson, aka female MGK. I'm a fan. You know, I've never picked against her. From the Ultimate Fighter against Pani Kianzad until now. Never picked against Macy Chiasson. And that served me pretty well, you know. She's won most of these fights. But if we're looking at the weakness of Macy Chiasson, you know, it's the grappling. If you can take down Macy, her get-up game, it's not good. You know, even if you can push her against the fence, just look to give her that big sister action. You can beat MGK. And that's probably what Raquel Pennington's gonna do. You know, that's probably what's going to happen. Raquel Pennington has a lot of experience. You know, she's fought Amanda Nunes, Holly Holm, Irene Aldana, Jermaine Durandame, Misha Tate, Pani Kianzad. She knows how to beat Macy Chiasson. And the way to beat her, give her that big sister action. And that's taking down the opponent, pushing her against the fence, showing the opponent I'm physically stronger. But here's the problem. If you don't do that against Macy Chiasson, this girl is nearly 6 foot tall with a 72-inch reach advantage. You know, her striking isn't bad. She's not like a Francis Ngannou, I'm going to sleep you with one shot. But her physical advantages are always clear. And that's why I've not picked against Macy Chiasson yet. You know, she has won most of these fights. Lena Landsberg was able to give her that big sister action. Raquel Pennington probably could do that too. But like I said, guys, I am going to make a biased prediction. I am a fan of Macy Chiasson. If she can avoid the ground game, I give her a good chance. Yeah, my betting odds, I'd put Raquel Pennington -130, slight favourite. And we've got female MGK Macy Chiasson +150 up to +180. Man, I think the bookies are counting her out. You know, if Raquel can get her to the mat, then fair play. But if it's striking, you know, it's going to be close. Yeah, I'm sticking with Macy on this one. Alright, we've got a matchup between Jourdain, Charles Jourdain taking on Andre Ewell. Man, a good matchup. Andre is stepping up to 145, usually competing at 135. To be honest, man, this step up in weight might be a good idea for Andre Ewell. When I'm looking at the styles of both of these guys, you know, they're quite similar. They're kind of playing the same type of game. Looking to be quick, looking to be unorthodox. You know, they've got a similar striking style. If I'm looking at who's the better kicker, maybe I'd say Andre Ewell. But if I'm looking at who's the better boxer, maybe I'm leaning Charles Jourdain. Overall, man, I think the striking's pretty similar from both of these guys. And that's why it's a fun fight. My prediction, though, I'm going to side with Charles Jourdain. And I'm probably going to put a bet on Charles Jourdain, depending on what the odds are. My price, I'd put him around -150. And we've got Charles Jourdain -200. It's not that bad. But the bookies are still making you overpay in that spot. And to be honest, man, the price probably gets worse too. I don't think it's going to get better than -2. Yeah, I'll maybe put Charles Jourdain with another line, get plus money, try to make a winning bet off of that. It's a good fight though. Alright, we've got a matchup between Sijara Eubanks taking on Melissa Gatto. Guys, Melissa Gatto looked pretty good against Victoria Leonardo. Like, she looked really good, powerful, quick. She kind of looked juiced up in my opinion. And man, if she wasn't juiced up and she really was, you know, cleaning that fight against Victoria Leonardo, then all the credit. But yeah, man, she looked powerful, ripped, quick. You know, I'm hoping to see that Melissa Gatto again. Now on the flip side, we've got Sijara Eubanks. You know, we know about this girl. The wrestling, the jiu-jitsu. It's really, really good, man. You look at what she done to Elise Reed with that ground and pound. Total obliteration. If we're looking at Sijara's losses, they all kind of look a little bit similar. Against Aspen Ladd and Betch Kohea, you know, the gas tank wasn't good. You know, she nearly got a round 1 stoppage against Betch, but used a lot of energy gassed out. Against Pani Kianzad, she managed her energy better, but she had a good fighter in there with Pani Kianzad. So ultimately, Sijara Eubanks did slow down outside of round 1. Now against Ketlin Vieira, you know, Ketlin's a big girl with some good boxing. So yeah, she was outclassed there. Melissa Gatto is really powerful on the feet. You know, she's a good striker. So if Sijara Eubanks doesn't get the takedown, you know, I think she maybe gets outclassed a little bit. But if she gets that takedown, lands on top in round 1, it could look similar to the fight against Elise Reed, where Sijara Eubanks just looks like a veteran on top, whether it's a submission or a ground and pound stoppage. It's a good fight. I'm going to take Melissa Gatto, hoping to see the same girl that fought Victoria Leonardo. You know, if she can avoid the ground game, just strike with Sijara. Man, even if she goes to the ground, end up on top, You know, it's a good fight. I think Melissa Gatto could shine in this spot. You do have to keep the betting line pretty close though. I'd put Melissa Gatto around -130. And you've got Melissa Gatto +170, +180. Man, I think that's a spot. I think that's a spot that you could potentially play as an underdog. So yeah, I'm liking that one. Melissa Gatto +170. Alright, we've got a matchup between Dustin Tafa taking on Harry Hunsucker. What a name. What a name. Alright, man. Let's be honest, guys. This matchup is potentially whoever lands first, that's going to be the winner. And you can say that maybe 90% of the time at heavyweight. Whoever connects first, that's the winner. Harry Hunsucker, man, kind of looks game to fight. But when I look at what Taito Ivaza done to him, just, you know, battered him. Battered him. Dustin Tafa isn't as good as Taito Ivaza, so maybe Harry Hunsucker has a better opportunity in this one. But I'm not going to pick Harry Hunsucker. I've got to pick Dustin Tafa. Guys, when you look at what Jared Vanderaa done to Dustin Tafa, if you go back and watch that fight, there was a lot of kicks from Jared Vanderaa. If Harry Hunsucker can replicate a similar performance, maybe he can win. But if you get Harry Hunsucker trying to take Dustin Tafa's head off, then it's whoever lands first. And if I had to pick who's going to land first, I'd say Dustin Tafa. So yeah, that's got to be my prediction. I'm going to take Tafa to most likely TKO Harry Hunsucker. What a name. Yeah, my odds on this one, I'd put Dustin Tafa at least a -250. And the bookies have -300 up to -350. Wow. So yeah, the bookies are like, yo, if you're trying to bet on Dustin Tafa to get a knockout, if you're trying to bet Justin to make money, we're going to make you overspend. You know, it's a -250. It's not a -350. They're making you overspend. The only time it's a problem overspending is if the bet loses. You know what I'm saying? If you overspend and win, you're looking good. For example, the guy that put 320 grand on Amanda Nunes. If Amanda Nunes wins that fight, he's looking good. But Amanda Nunes didn't win the fight. He overspent. And now you're looking at a 320 grand loss. So yeah, guys, I believe Dustin Tafa is the right prediction to make. The bookies have got it covered though. They've got it covered. Raoni Barcelos taking on Victor Henry. I was watching a bit of tape on Victor, man. This guy is a dog. You know, he's a dog. He's looking to fight you at a high pace. And he's looking to just be in a dog-like fight. From there, he's looking to take you to the mat, use some jiu-jitsu. He's looking to basically break you. Now, the opponent is Raoni Barcelos, man, and it's going to be difficult to break this guy. To be honest, when I'm looking at the style that you need to beat Raoni, it's got to be a dog-like style, or at least a style that you're using a high pace. Because if you go technique for technique with Raoni Barcelos, you're probably going to lose that fight. So yeah, Victor Henry needs to fight at a high pace, take down Raoni Barcelos, and just keep him in that dogfight. If he can do that, which, if you're looking at his tape, he kind of fights like that. If he can do that here, maybe he's got a good chance to, you know, set himself up in the UFC. But I'm not going to make that prediction, guys. I have to side with Raoni Barcelos. Raoni Barcelos is like a mini Jose Aldo. You know, he's that clean. The Muay Thai striking, the timing, the IQ, the grappling. I like all of the skill on Raoni Barcelos. The only thing that I would say about Raoni is sometimes his output can be a little bit low and maybe he slows down a little bit. But even then, man, you're kind of picking to try find the weakness. You know, Raoni Barcelos, brilliant fighter. And that has to be my prediction. I'd say around -250 at least on Raoni Barcelos. And we've got -270, -280. Yeah, might have to double that up in a parlay. Man, we've got a matchup between GM3 taking on Dustin Stoltzfus. Jiu-jitsu. That's what this fight is. This fight is a jiu-jitsu fight. But man, 9 times out of 10 when you've got 2 jiu-jitsu players, you normally get a kickboxing battle. So that's what I'm going to ask myself. You know, who's the better kickboxer? Despite being jiu-jitsu players, who's the better kickboxer? And to be honest, man, difficult to answer the question because they're both not kickboxers. If I had to answer, I'd say GM3. I like the body kicks. But yeah, what you've got here is 2 jiu-jitsu players. GM3 kind of slows down. Dustin Stoltzfus kinda slows down too. Like, you look at Rodolfo Vieira getting that submission. Dustin Stoltzfus was tired. And a lot of people broke that fight down, including myself. And we were speaking about Rodolfo's cardio. So yeah, Dustin Stoltzfus, man, he's a jiu-jitsu player that is 0-2 in the UFC. And it's not looking good. Kinda needs to win this fight. And if you're looking at GM3, you know, he's coming off a big win against Makhmudmuradov, where he took some shots. You know, he took some shots that Dustin Stoltzfus hasn't got. Man, anytime that I count out a fighter in a specific area, I'm just getting flashbacks of Juliana Pena. Man, if Dustin Stoltzfus can stick GM3 with a jab that I don't see coming, then fair play. But if I had to decide who's the better kickboxer between these jiu-jitsu players, I'd say GM3. And he's on a 2-fight winning streak compared to a 2-fight losing streak. Yeah. All the logic is pointing to GM3. So that's going to be my prediction. No way I'm going to bet this one though. No way. I'd price GM3 around -170. And you've got GM3 -220. Man, the price tag of beating Makhmudmuradov. My goodness. And of course, you know, there's not a Makhmudmuradov in the cage with him this time. It's Dustin Stoltzfus. But even then, -220. You know, I'm not sure about that. Alright, my homies, you know what time it is, man. It's time for a smoke break. If you waited to smoke with me, amen. If you've been smoking this whole time, double amen. If you're not a smoker but you enjoy the smoke breaks, that's a triple amen, gang. Let's go. It's Christmas time, so I hope all of you guys, man, have a great Christmas. I also want to say thank you so much for the support you've given my channel the whole of 2021. You know, I've broken down every single UFC card in 21, and every single time there's been a bunch of support. So that's what I want to mention with the smoke break in this last episode of 2021. You guys have made this channel what it is. You know, you guys are the captains of this channel. You guys make the channel what it is. And I'm really thankful for that, man. The whole of 2021, I've had unbelievable support. And I just want to say amen to all of you guys. So yeah, my homies, enjoy the Christmas break. And thank you for all of your support in 2021. Now, this isn't a great time to sign up on Patreon because there's only one card left. But for anyone that wants my bets on the last card of the year, the Patreon will be in the description or the comment section. Let's break down this main card. Let's go. Alright, I'm going to spark the blunt purely because Darren Elkins, man, this guy's a warrior. Man, Darren Elkins has literally taken about 10 lifetimes worth of beatings inside the octagon. And that's not an understatement, you know. He is the damage. He will take the shots. And after he takes the shots, he's going to keep walking forward for more shots. And then when you've hit him with the extra shots, you know, he's asking for more, man. This guy's like the Oliver Twist of mixed martial arts. Dish up some more, because I can take all the shots. Yeah? Darren Elkins, the Oliver Twist of mixed martial arts. Listen, man, the only way Darren Elkins is going to beat Cub Swanson, there's two ways and two ways only. Number one, Hail Mary TKO. Hail Mary. Number two, he takes all of the shots for about 7 or 8 minutes, and then he gets a takedown on a tired Cub Swanson and gets another win, and we're all thinking, Darren Elkins, you're crazy. And that's the only way I see Darren Elkins winning, because, you know, he does take the shots. Show me a Darren Elkins fight where he looked defensively good. I don't think there is one. You know, maybe against Eduardo Garagori, where he took down the opponent and didn't take any damage. But if you're on the feet striking with Darren Elkins, you know, you're gonna land your shots. And I think that's what Cub Swanson does here. You know, unless he gets taken to the mat and out wrestled, I think he's going to piece up Darren Elkins. So yeah, that's going to be my prediction. I'll take the legend, the killer, Cub Swanson. His takedown defense against Daniel Pineda was pretty good. The only difference there is Daniel Pineda kind of gasses, whereas Darren Elkins, you know, just ready for more. every time. So yeah, that's going to be my prediction. I'll take Cub Swanson. I'd put Cub Swanson around minus 200. And the betting line, we've got Cub Swanson minus 2, minus 220. Yeah, I mean, he should beat Darren Elkins. He really should, because there's no concern about, you know, I have to time this guy with my punches. You're gonna land your punches. The only thing you've got to watch out for is the cardio and the takedown defense. Your takedown defense has got to be on point. You've got to be ready to go 15 minutes of fighting a punch bag. And if you can do those two things, you're going to beat Darren Elkins. So yeah, that's my prediction. All right, we've got a matchup between Diego Ferreira taking on Mateusz Gamrot. Man, this is a good matchup. Really, really good matchup. Man, when you're looking at Diego Ferreira, this is a guy who has a lot of experience in the UFC. Primarily a jiu-jitsu player. Despite being a jiu-jitsu player, you know, the striking of Diego has evolved massively. If you look at the fight against Dustin Poirier, all the way back in 2015, when he got TKO'd, compared to the fight against, say, Anthony Pettis, that's two completely different guys from a striking standpoint. If I'm looking at a weakness in the game of Diego Ferreira recently, if you look at the fights against Beneil Dariush and Gregor Gillespie, one thing that I'm kind of noticing is Diego Ferreira looks a little bit tired outside of round one. You know, there was a lot of grappling in these fights. Beneil Dariush loves to grapple, Gregor Gillespie a really good wrestler, but he was tired, you know, slowing down quite a bit. And Mateusz Gamrot is a brilliant wrestler. You know, this guy doesn't mind taking you to the mat. You look at what he done to Jeremy Stephens. Complete obliteration. You know, took him down and got that Kimura so quickly. I'd be really shocked if he submitted Diego Ferreira. But if I'm looking at who's the better wrestler, that's Mateusz Gamrot. And then you look at Mateusz Gamrot against Scott Holtzman. You know, the boxing on the back foot looked pretty good. Maybe it's recency bias, guys, but I think Mateusz Gamrot is a better boxer, a better wrestler, better cardio. I think he's a better fighter. And that's a statement, because Diego Ferreira, man, has had a lot of experience in the UFC. So yeah, I'm high on Mateusz Gamrot. I think he's going to win this fight, especially if his cardio's in good condition. Whether you're boxing on the back foot or taking Diego Ferreira to the mat, I think Mateusz Gamrot should win this fight. I'd price Mateusz Gamrot around minus 200. The only way I can see Diego Ferreira winning is a TKO. You know, some people might think about the submission because Diego Ferreira has really good jiu-jitsu, but Mateusz Gamrot is very intelligent when it comes to fighting on the ground. You know, it's going to be difficult to find that submission. So yeah, I'd price Mateusz around minus 200. And we've got Mateusz Gamrot minus 175 up to minus 200. Man, if that price comes down to minus 175 on my bookie, yeah, that's a play. Alright guys, we've got a fight between Raphael Assuncao taking on Ricky Simón. Man, I'm just going to keep this breakdown 100. If Ricky Simón does not win this fight, the UFC ain't going to be happy, bruh. And the fans ain't going to be happy. And the bettors, most of the bettors ain't going to be happy too. Raphael Assuncao is nearly 40 years old. Ricky Simón's 29. Raphael Assuncao does have more experience, arguably a better striker. But again, 40 years old. So if you're Ricky Simón, you should be thinking to yourself, look, I'm just going to get in there and be an athlete. I'm going to take this guy down. Because when you're looking at who can go further at this point in both guys' careers, who can fight harder, who can fight at a higher pace, and who's a better grappler, that has to be Ricky Simón. So the only way you give Raphael Assuncao a chance to win the fight is striking with Raphael Assuncao. If Ricky Simón gets straight onto a single leg and grapples that whole first round, you know, both of these guys are going to go back to their corner. Ricky Simón would have won that round. But starting round two, I think you're going to see a very tired Raphael Assuncao from the grappling in round one. Then if Ricky Simón jumps back onto a single leg, gets the fight to the mat again, Raphael Assuncao may not make it to the end of round two. And that's because you've got a 40-year-old man grappling a relentless wrestler, arguably in the prime of his life, 29 years old. So ultimately, man, if Ricky Simón pushes a higher pace with the grappling, I think he probably finishes Raphael Assuncao. And like I said, man, if Ricky Simón doesn't win this fight, man, I don't know what to say. That has to be my prediction. I'm going to take Ricky Simón to potentially ragdoll Raphael Assuncao. And I'd price Ricky Simón at least a -300. Part of me wants to give him an 80% probability and go -4. But I want to give Raphael Assuncao a little bit of respect. So I'm going to price him -3, which is still over 70%, but not quite 80% probability. And we've got Ricky Simón -250 up to -300, 320 on some books. So yeah, the bookies are high on Ricky Simón. The only way he loses this fight is by striking, because if he grapples hard with Raphael Assuncao, he's gonna fatigue Raphael. You know what I'm saying? He should win the fight. Alright my homies, we've got a fight between Amanda Lemos taking on Angela Hill. Man, when I'm looking at who's more experienced, who's got a higher output, I think the answer is Angela Hill. But on the flip side, if I'm looking at who's gonna be closer to finishing the fight from damaging punches, that's going to be Amanda Lemos. You know, Chiasson once said, ultimately what you're doing as a mixed martial artist, what you're trying to do is, you're trying to make the other person quit. And if you can't do that, eventually a timer will run out. And once the timer runs out, you go to a scorecard. And that scorecard should resemble who was closer to making the other person quit. And how you decide with that criteria, like they say, it's effective striking or grappling, and then it goes down to like octagon control. So yeah, I think the higher output is going to be Angela Hill, but when I'm looking at who's going to come closer to making the other person quit, I think that's going to be Amanda Lemos. There's landing your punches, then there's landing your punches and nearly making the other person quit. Two different things. Angela Hill has a good striking game, it's evolved a lot, but she's not coming close to stopping these fights. When you look at what Amanda Lemos done to Ruiz, Lavina Souza, you know, just the jab alone is so effective, so damaging. And that's what I'm going to decide my prediction on here. I think Amanda Lemos is going to come closer to making the opponent quit. And that's what you're doing. You know, you're trying to make the other person quit. And if you can't, time runs out, you go to a scorecard. If there's a stoppage, it's going to be Amanda Lemos. And if it goes to a scorecard, I think the scorecard says Amanda was closer to getting a stoppage. So yeah, I'm going to take Amanda Lemos. And the name Amanda, at the moment, it scares me. But yeah, that's going to be my prediction. If I had to make numbers, I'd put Amanda Lemos at least a -250. And you've got Amanda Lemos -400. Oh my goodness. So even the bookies are like, yo, I want money here on Angela Hill. +300. Everyone play Angela Hill. Yeah, I'm going to probably play Amanda Lemos. But at -400, you know, you got to find another line to put that with, in my opinion. Alright, we've got a matchup between Stephen Wonderboy Thompson taking on Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. I'm a fan of Stephen Thompson purely because he proves that karate can work. You know, you look at Stephen Thompson, man, it can work. You can replicate this art inside the octagon. He's one of the best at doing it. You know, the karate kicks are brilliant. And the way he uses the feinting and faking, the space. Stephen Thompson's one of the best strikers we've ever seen. I will say this though, guys. Stephen Thompson's 38 years old. Man, you look at what Burns done to him in his last fight though. You know, the blueprint is there. You take down Stephen Thompson. And that's never been an easy thing to do. You know, it's not an easy thing to do to take down Stephen Thompson. But ultimately, guys, if you don't take down Thompson, you are in a striking battle and you're giving Thompson the fight he wants. And 9 times out of 10, Stephen Thompson can fight his fight from a striking standpoint. And what I mean by that is he's going to control the space. He's going to dictate the range. You're going to be in a Stephen Wonderboy fight. You know, Wonderboy did have the big octagon to work with against Burns, but was still taken down. This time he's in the smaller octagon against Belal Muhammad. Man, if you've seen Belal Muhammad fight, you know, this guy really gives it his all. You know, high pace, cardio really good, grappling really good. Belal Muhammad is no walk in the park for anyone, and he's kind of proven that. He's not a big welterweight. You know, he's not a big guy, but the pace that he fights at, the cardio, the output, he stays in your face. You know, he makes you work. I think if Belal Muhammad wants to win the fight, outside of round 1, he has to keep a high pace, has to take down Stephen Thompson. And if he fails with the takedown, or if Stephen Wonderboy gets back to his feet, you know, Belal Muhammad has to stick on him. He's got to stay on that lead foot, because if you don't, you're giving Wonderboy the space to work with. You want to take away that space. So if Belal Muhammad is going to win the fight, he's got to just fight at a high pace. It's a really good fight, and part of me wants to pick Stephen Thompson to put on that striking masterclass. But man, Belal Muhammad, he's going to fight at a high pace. He's not going to give Stephen Thompson an easy fight where he's just kicking Belal, you know, just using the space. I'm going to side with Belal Muhammad to use a high pressure, high pace, take down the karate practitioner. If this matchup happened 10 times, maybe it's Stephen Wonderboy winning, I'd say 6 times out of 10. But the bookies say 7 times, over 7 times out of 10, minus 250 on Stephen Wonderboy. Man, Belal Muhammad plus 200. I think it kind of makes sense to sprinkle that side. Alright my homies, main event, we've got Chris Daukaus taking on Derek Lewis. Now before I get into breaking this fight down, guys, I just want to say massive thank you to everyone that supported the channel in 2021. You guys are legends. So yeah guys, thank you very much. This is going to be the last fight breakdown of 2021. Now Chris Daukaus taking on Derek Lewis. Both of these guys are primarily boxers, but there is a difference in boxing style. You know, Chris Daukaus isn't looking to one-shot KO you. Derek Lewis is. You know, Derek Lewis isn't looking to jab you 20-30 times around. We know what Derek Lewis is all about. If he connects, he might... No, not might. If he connects, you're going to the shadow realm. You know, Chris Daukaus is going to be winning the fight right up until he's not. And that might happen in round 1. It might happen in round 2. It could happen later. Derek Lewis is always losing the fight right until he sends you to the shadow realm. So yeah guys, that's what you've got here. You've got Chris Daukaus, who has good cardio, good output, good technique. The only thing you have to worry about is Derek Lewis finding that shadow realm punch. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to say Derek Lewis has about 10 minutes to find that punch. If he doesn't, I think Chris Daukaus is going to win the fight. And that's got to be my prediction. I've got to take Chris Daukaus purely because there's only one way that Derek Lewis can win the fight. And if there's only one way that you can win the fight, you know, it's difficult for me to predict you to win. It's difficult to bet on that. I don't think it's impossible for Derek Lewis to knock out Chris Daukaus because it only takes one shot. But if that one shot doesn't come, the better mixed martial artist is going to win the fight, and that's Chris Daukaus. So yeah guys, that's going to be my prediction. I'm going to take Daukaus round 3 stoppage, and I'd have to put Daukaus a minus 200, but the bookies have Chris Daukaus minus 135. So yeah, the bookies are a little bit scared on this one. They're giving you Derek Lewis at plus money, but it's not big plus money. So the bookies are kind of saying, yo, it's plausible. Inside the first 10 minutes, he might find that shot. It's Derek Lewis, man, and we know Derek Lewis likes to do it. Alright, my homies, be sure to let me know who you're taking in the main event, the co-main event, your underdogs, all of your plays. Drop it in the comment section. Guys, have a great Christmas, and man, be ready in 2022. Be ready to go again. Because I'm going to be ready. Keep your eyes to the sky, never glued to your shoes. Peace.